Hi, everybody. Jim Gray Wolf Petruzzi here with another Elder Speaking of White Otter Academy this evening. This evening is interesting. At the moment, we have 5 participants. And so we have 3 from North America and 2 from down under, Australia. So we're going to start out today, and we'll see, as always, where the program takes us. There's a couple of things I will throw out later because people who could not make it asked me to put them on the table, so I will. If anyone else is listening and wants to join in, feel free. For people who watch this later, share it around if this works for you, if it gives you any um, knowledge, and we will see where it takes us. I see we have another coming in now. Oh, it's Timmy. Good. So this is a circle of quote unquote elders. We welcome everybody in here. This is about all people getting together. And Timmy just showed up from New Zealand, who I've worked with for a while, and is a young woman down there who's working on peace initiatives. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. We got some interesting things going on. Globally, we all have the COVID-19 virus going on, which continues to crank around the globe. And we might talk about that a little more later as well. We talked about it last time and we got a lot of questions because many of us were saying how while it's a very horrible thing that's happening, it's also a very positive motivation for change in a good way. And I know I'm seeing more and more of that. And some of us are nodding our heads as we speak. That's where we have to focus. We have to stay positive. Here in the US, we have a series of protests going on around the country. Some of them are getting very violent. The talk is in all the media and some of the politicians that this is being put forth by some groups who want to cause unrest. Now, it started because of another black man was killed by the police in Minnesota. A horrible situation. But they really think that the unrest going on and the protests around our country are being pushed because they want that to happen. So as we do this show tonight, as we do prayers in this show or ceremony, let's keep everybody in our thoughts around the globe because we're all dealing with unique situations right now. You'll hear about some of it from us on this panel tonight. Remember, all we share as we record this is so that people who follow us will have some access to the things we've learned and done, and also to the mistakes we've made. So keep that in mind as we talk, and I'm going to pass the stick around. Everybody can do a little brief introduction of yourself, what's in your heart for tonight, if there's anything special you want to put into tonight's program. And after we do that, maybe Charles will open that next part of the program for us with a prayer. So let's go to Sue first.
Okay, that was something different that popped up. Wasn't used to that. Hi everyone, I'm Sue Graywolf, also known as Grandmother Thunderbird, and I feel, I don't know what I feel today. It's been kind of an interesting day for me, so I'm going to be kind of quiet, I think, in a lot of ways, and just listen, and I'll join in when I feel something stirring within me. But there is just so much going on in this world right now. And being a very sensitive type person, I tend to absorb a lot of what is going on around me. And that's just not, locally, that's globally. So some days it's just really, really hard to just function, much less speak and be part of anything. but I really needed to be here. Let's put it that way. I needed to be here and just be able to listen and know that there are others who are out there that are struggling the same way, but there's lots to share, and I'm really open to listening and just being part of this community of elders. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue. Let's turn it to Molly next, who is a new participant.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks, Sue. Appreciate the the realness, and fully want to honor what's going on over there for your nation or for the North Americas. I'm here in Australia. I'm on Warramai country at a very special piece of land. I've spent all of the COVID lockdown here, so I feel very blessed to be sitting on the edge of a lot of what's happening outside of it, but also with one foot connected to the world and seeing what's going on and having relating to humans in different parts of the country doing their work. And I really recently, the biggest theme coming into sort of my awareness and the work I do is nature-based sort of mentoring, is the presence or the need of the presence of elders and ancestors. So I just want to really call in like this, in these times, this longing that I'm feeling is that of that guidance, because it's really hard to understand how to act, you know. And so I think like I imagine a lot of people really asking the question like for some strong guidance, from those places. And I'm very grateful to anyone who's holding those flames. So thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Good words. Thank you. Before I hit and bring in the next one, I just want to tag into what the first two have said. Yes, I want to thank and show appreciation for those who have made it tonight, because there is so much going on internally and externally. It's not easy to even speak right now. And I know it's not for me, and yet I speak a lot, but it's almost having to force myself to speak in some of the venues that I do. So many thanks for that. We've had a lot of our people who are usually on these calls sending their hello and their best wishes. A couple of them are in courses. Brock, I know, is doing a 2-day walkabout before he does some ceremony with his nation up in Canada. So I'm not going to go through them all. Just know that the folks who are here quite often are saying hello to the rest of the circle and to anyone who's listening. And we'll carry their energy with us as well, obviously. Let me shift now to, I guess, to Timmy. Timmy's down in New Zealand. And
hi everyone, I'm Timmy from New Zealand, and I'm a peace activist and a climate activist, and I'm really happy to be here. Yes, I'm also feeling a bit overwhelmed because so much is going on, and it's just too much sometimes, but I will be fine, I hope so. Yes, thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Timmy. I'm looking who? Peter, put your spoon down for a minute.
Still that hungry. It's just got up a bit late. We've got a cold morning here. It lends itself to sleeping in. Great to be here again with our group of elders and everybody. Look, we have about 3 or 4 wonderful Zen koans that all pointing to the same thing. And one is called "Every Day is a Good Day." Every day is a good day. And one is called "All My Meat is the Best Meat." All my meat is the best meat. The other one is called "Sun-Faced Buddhas, Moon-Faced Buddhas." Sun-Faced Buddhas, Moon-Faced Buddhas. And that one relates to Master Ba, when they said to him, "Master Ba, you're on well today." And he said, "Sun-Faced Buddhas, Moon-Faced Buddhas." So underneath still Buddhas, but some are sun, some are moon. But every day is a good day. So it's great to be here. I'm Peter, a climate activist mainly, but you know, sort of looking always with interest on the game of the game of consciousness, how we move toward our evolution on the planet. Very slowly at the moment. We've got major things happening, obviously, that have been talked about. So no doubt we'll talk more about that today. So wonderful to be here, everybody, and thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. And by the way, 3 absentees from Australia. Art sends his apologies. He's moving house. He's moving from a tiny house to a, they couldn't handle it. It was too tiny. They had to move into a bigger house. That's number 1. 2, Rob Bakes in Melbourne is writing out the submission, community submission, desperately trying to finish that. He talked about it at our last meeting. He's doing that today. And third one, Bruce Shillingsworth, our Curry, our Aboriginal elder, I haven't been able to reach him. I don't know. He's obviously just so busy. So 3 absent. Apologies for those 3. Thanks.
Thanks, Peter. And yeah, some of those I had heard from, so they will be back. It's interesting because we need to be here and share what we know, but we also need to be out there doing whatever's needed to take the next steps. So Tanya is also in a course right now. Cheryl is in a course. I didn't hear from Bruce either, so I'm not sure what Bruce is. But Brock is leading ceremony starting tomorrow morning. So it's a balancing act all the time. Pardon me. So let me bring in, I think I got everybody else. Yeah. My chief, Charles Two Dog, to say a few words why he is here, and then open us up with a prayer, something uplifting and bright and light, if you can, Charles.
Oh, well, I'm Chief of the United Western Lenape Nation, and I give you my heart to all my relations from all over the world, from the top to the bottom. And to remind my relations all over the world that when I come home, I love my wife, I love my children. You do too. When you come home, you love your husbands, your wives, your children. Culturally, we might be a little different, but as the human being, we are not different at all. So I would like to do it this way. Wakantanka Tankashila Gichimanitu, God. All the names that people call you around the world, hear me. I send this weak voice to you. I want to say, Wolfula, that I'm grateful, Grandfather, that I was allowed to open my eyes this morning and see Father Son again, to see the standing ones, to see the grass peeps, to see the four-leggeds, to see the wingets, and feel the air, feel the breeze upon my face this morning. Grandfather, through all this that is happening in the United States right now, I pray for peace, I ask for peace, and that we share our hearts in one mind, one spirit, one connection as the children of the earth and as the children of the Great Spirit, that this will be overcome, this will stop, this will slow. We will share our hands, walk one in one, and to be able to speak with our brothers and sisters around the world brings our connection to our hearts even closer. Aho Matakuati.
Aho. Thank you, Charles. That's good. We needed that to get started. And I have no doubts, for me personally, that we will. It's not even a matter of overcoming. It's a matter of shifting the energies. And I think we're doing it now. I'm seeing more and more people connect. More and more very different people connect. It's kind of like an extension of Standing Rock when Sue and I were there and we saw all the different people show up. We couldn't even speak the same language and we looked very different, but we all connected and we all knew what was going on and we all knew why we were there. And I'm seeing more and more of that now. And I'm not talking about our supposed leadership anywhere in the world. I'm talking about we, people. We, the tribal members of the one tribe. And so I know that's going to continue. This is leading to unity, not disunity. And so I'm welcoming that. And I'm welcoming the new time of peace. And I'm going to ask Timmy a little bit about that in a couple minutes. But I wanted to bring in something here. This is from a friend, Jan Golding, and his partner. They're in Jerusalem. So it's 4 o'clock in the morning there. And so he's not showing up today. I have had questions from various people. Would we do these at different times so people in strange time zones could be available? So I would certainly be willing to do that. We could schedule them because not everyone has to always be here. It's whoever, like tonight, it's whoever shows up. So we will do some of that so that we have people on the other side of the world who are able to come and share without getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. But what Jan has been working on, and Sue and I know him from past efforts, is a world water law, a whole system healing plan. You'll be hearing more about this, and we will bring it to our circle, just like it's gone to groups everywhere, to ask if we can support it, if we can say this is a good thing. But it's to recognize water as a basic human need, and the need now to protect the water that we have and keep it clean and pure. So I just want to thank Jan, because I know he'll listen to this recording later, for doing this. He's already got thousands and thousands of people and organizations involved. It's moving very quickly, like so many things are right now. I'm watching groups just go woof, and I'm getting all kinds of requests to do things, and I'm sure you guys are too, and that's perfect. That's what we need right now. So just put that one out there. I think Peter has some thoughts later. We'll bring him in a little bit later about I think some manifesto you were mentioning, and we're going to let Peter talk about that in a bit. I wanted to bring Timmy in. I'm not sure how long she can stay. She's in New Zealand, so we always have time issues too. Timmy is working on a peace initiative, projects that will kick in after we get through this time of chaos. And I've been fortunate enough to be chatting with her and offering what bit of knowledge and mistakes I can offer her to help her move ahead. Timmy, what would you like to hear, if anything, from this group we have here tonight?
So, yes, I have been working with a few students in New Zealand to try to make compassion education a part of the curriculum to teach kids compassion and kindness. So that's what we are working on now. I'm just trying to find ways of how we can bring kindness into the world and educate kids to become loving people so that we won't have to worry this much about our world in the future. Yes, so that's what I'm working on. If anyone has any ideas or anything, I'm happy to chat with you or connect with you. Yes. I don't have much more to say.
Good. No, that's a mouthful. Okay, so what Timmy is working is this peace initiative to get peace and kindness and compassion back into the schools. And she's working in New Zealand right now, but she's a high energy young woman. And this thing is going to spread. I have no doubt. Originally, the thought was we'd be out there in the streets, much like the climate change movement. But of course, the pandemic has shifted that dramatically for all of us. So it's finding other ways to do it. And as we move ahead with this, I look back, and Charles and I talked a little before the show. I'm thinking back to the 1960s, and some of us are old enough to remember that. This is so similar to the 60s. It's not quite as intense as it was then yet, but it's certainly similar, and that could be coming. However, out of the 60s grew a lot of peace initiatives. Took a long time for Vietnam to be brought to an end, but people learned that we can't live this way, and yet we continue to live this way. It brought Dr. King, and it brought that movement. Now we see that resurfacing. So we're seeing a lot of things resurface, in my mind, that we saw in the 60s. We didn't finish it in the 60s. We were not able to. Truthfully, we kind of ran out of gas, and there were not enough of us. Now there's many more of us at many different ages as I look across our group right here tonight. So that said, anybody want to take the stick and comment to Timmy? Anything?
Well, I can say it like this, brother. You know me. I marched with you in '68, and I was only 8 years old myself. So I turned 61 on the 24th. So I've been doing this a long, long time. Now, as far as peace is concerned, the way I can say it to Timmy is peace starts also from not just your heart, but it comes from here. You speak with one person. That one person connects to you. So that other person starts speaking the same. Therefore, that energy, that vibration goes to others and others and others and others. That energy, it moves outward to other people. And we have been marching for peace, myself, since 1967. But here's the thing. As you do this, the way I've done this since I've been an activist since I was 7, the way I have understood this to be is to accept, because it can continue. It can make you where you really go, oh man, because sometimes, you take one step up, you take 2 steps back sometimes. Never give up. Don't ever give up on your dream, your vision. So what I would say is talk to one person, speak to them. If that resonates with that one person, then 2 people go out. Then when they talk to others, more go out. So that one speaking to one person resonates to energy where it could be massive. Think about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, good words, Charles. I agree. I'm thinking, Peter, okay.
To meditate on Timmy's initiative a little bit, sometimes when we watch a wildlife presentation from David Attenborough, we see a hunting lion bringing down a shockingly innocent deer running away, and we all think how unpeaceful, how shocking this is. How could this possibly happen? And as if you're a Christian, you think, how could God allow this shocking thing to happen? How could God allow this? This is shocking. It's not peaceful. It's vicious. It's bloodthirsty. An innocent animal and a vicious animal coming together. So I think, our Zen teacher used to say, look, life's very interesting like that. On the surface of the ocean, there's a lot of ripples. There's a lot of activity, a lot of waves. But as you go deeper down, nothing's ever happened. Everything's always been very peaceful, very still. And in the play of life, Shakespeare knew it very well. We can have a lot of bloodthirsty things happen. But at the end of the night, Puck says, if we we beg you, if we have offended, think about this and all is mended. That you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear. And this sense of the ancient Hindu teachings of the dream going on, And without suffering, we wouldn't be motivated to come home. We wouldn't be motivated to awaken. We wouldn't be motivated to do anything. I wouldn't have got out of bed this morning if there was no pain, suffering, war, all of those things in the dream. I wouldn't have got out of bed. So at a deeper level, I think the faith is there is deep peace already present on a deeper level. And of course, we must try to bring about peace on every level we can. That's our human, that's our brief here on earth, is to do that as human beings, to bring that as much peace, love, happiness to everyone and to the world as we can. But at the same time, realizing I am not breathing my own lungs, I am not beating my own heart, I am not causing the lion to chase after that poor gazelle or that poor deer. I'm not doing any of that. I'm part of this dream that's appearing as well. I'm just a humble player in this dream as well, playing my part for a time, for a little time. And in essence, in energy, no energy, but the second law of thermodynamics, even though things appear to be destroyed, disappear, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Nothing is ever born or died, the Heart Sutra of Buddhism. It's just nothing has ever happened. So this dream that we're in appears so cruel, appears so, and we've got to act to try and help that. But at the same time, on a deeper level, everything is already perfect, good, peaceful, and all of that. It's hard to understand, I know, and I think your initiative is fantastic, and it's motivated from a deep heart level, and we all need to follow and support that initiative. I love it. So thanks very much.
Thanks, Peter. Good words also. Yeah, I mean, so many things are playing through right now. Those of us who have walked a long time this time around know the prophecies, and some of the younger people do too. And that's exactly what's playing across right now. We are bringing forth the best in us. But it is a balance, that's correct. There's the old story about the light wolf and the dark wolf. We each have that inside of us. And which one is the stronger? Whichever one we feed. So young people like Timmy are feeding that light wolf now, because they know this chaos will be over at some point. I'd like to bring in Molly now for a minute. He's doing some amazing work. I look at what he's doing, and it reminds me of doing work like him when I was probably about his age. I've worked in nature my whole life. My primary teacher has been nature my whole life, for my spiritual walk, for my educational walk. And I think nature is the biggest asset we have going forward now. And I'd like to hear what he has to say.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everyone, already for those words. I just want to acknowledge that in my life and the work I'm doing at the moment, that the themes that everybody's speaking about, they seem to be shared. You know, it really points to me that there is this shared consciousness that things are arising from. A couple of points on that which are kind of cool, like from an astrological level. Charles, you said the 24th of, does that mean this month? Just out of curiosity. Okay, cool. So you're a Gemini, right? And we're in the Gemini sun cycle, and Gemini is about twinship. So I heard Peter talk about the moon face and the sun face, and the light and the dark, and I'm hearing this, and also Gemini is about voice and communication. I'm an Aries, so yeah, nice one. And so it doesn't surprise me that there's these bigger themes that sort of play out at all levels, and that my life is like, is one representation of my communal, ecological, and cosmological existence. Just something that, you know, thinking that it's all happening for everyone on all levels. And so like needing to trust that big nature's got us. Leo, we got 3 Leos staying with us at the moment. Nice one. The big nature has us in its arms, whether it's creator, mystery, God, however we see it. And that if we can trust in that, that we can navigate all of the dark and the light. Yeah. So, but at a practical level, you know, that's easy to say, but at a practical level, I guess, you know, speaking from what I do in my work, which is evolved from playing with kids in nature, you know, play-based, to creating village-like containers, literally like trying to replicate a village-like experience for families and kids, to bringing in mentors and those who are soul-seeking and helping them connect with that culture in seeking purpose. But it's all embedded in nature, you know, whether it's the local or the macro, it's embedded in nature. And I say she with Mother Earth, but I think nature is, you know, it's masculine, feminine. It's there to support us, hey? Like, I think in times like these, I'm blessed. I'm sitting here. You can probably hear the lorikeets out the back. You know, we've got black cockatoos. We've got dingoes coming into camp. We've got dolphin pods swimming when I'm out surfing, you know. So I'm getting a lot of support. So I speak from a privileged place. So I wonder how someone who's in a place like me, blessed, can also support the world who are stuck on the front line. You know, I'm not a frontline activist. That's not my nature. I wasn't born to be that. And I think it's important for everyone to know that we all have our medicine, and that our medicine does not mean we don't all have to be fighting as a fighting warrior. You know, there's lots of forms of that. And I think to honor everyone is doing their part in that big nature thing. But yeah, back to it is that if it's not embedded in the natural system and embedded within a natural community, like a naturally relationships that are informed by nature, then it's very hard because it's isolating. So yeah, that's a big part of what I do. And we actually shine a lot of light. We do a lot of play. We do a lot of going back to childhood style reconnection, to recycle people so that they can reconnect with their vision from a place of like supported. And I've had that chance, but we're going to hit the grief wall, you know, no matter what. So we're going to hit the dark stuff. So I'm not pushing that away. You know, what we feed, I think also grows, but also that which we choose not to feed. Sometimes that grows too in a weird way. So yeah, I really want to honor what's come up already about the two sides, and just honor that the human community, the natural community, and also the spiritual ancestral community there is to support us. And what I want to finally add is that in our village culture programs and what we're doing is that we're really playing to try and understand what we don't have through elders' guidance. So I just want to really bring it back to this circle, is that there is a real hunger for literal human elders within our programs, within our circles, and also the ancestral elders. And how do we connect with that as young humans who need that support, so we don't feel like we're alone out here? And I'll finish with that. Thank you.
That's awesome. Everybody, great words. Wow. I like to respond to so many things you said, but I won't. I'll just respond to a couple. However, if you ever need elders to speak to any of these groups, you can certainly just email the group, and I know some of us would show up whenever you want. It's not in person, but it's better than nothing. Or maybe some can find the physical elders near you and get them to you as well. Because I agree, we need the elders and the young right now. And I'm seeing more and more of that, and that's perfect. When I was young, we didn't have any elders who would back us up, very few. We were on our own, and that's partly why we didn't do all that we had hoped to. I think that's changed now. Enough of us went through those times that we understand it's the young people who have to carry the torch now, and we have to be there to support, to march with them if that's needed, to teach if that's needed, or to learn, because we have to change how we function too. you talked about different roles, and boy, I couldn't agree more. And people trying to play roles that may not be theirs is not a good idea right now. Focus on your role. There are no small roles. There are no roles bigger than others. They're just different roles. And that's something I've taught for years and years because it was pounded into me by my elders. I wasn't an easy student. I had to be taught many times. And our roles shift. I know I've lived long enough, my role has shifted numerous times. And I've been an activist since Standing Rock for several years now because that was needed. And then I felt, okay, I need to be back on the spiritual road. I need to be back on the educational road. And okay, it's time. And so I shift again. And that's okay too. We don't have to stay in one mold. We can shift and change and do whatever's needed at the moment. This is the role that I'm most comfortable in. My activist days I thought were done when I reached my 20s, only to find out they resurfaced. But that's okay. You know, we did what we have to. The other thing you said that I think is critical, and I'm sure all of us would agree, not only is nature critical, to me nothing can happen without it, but play and fun. Even now in these crazy times, we have got to have fun. We've got to have some play worked in, or we'll go even crazier than we are. And I know some days I don't even want to get up. I've had it. But then something happens and I have fun. Simple things. I take our dogs for a run each day and I truly enjoy it. And it's fun for me to watch because my knees are bad now, so I can't run with them much anymore. So they just run around me. That's fun. That brings some element in that allows us to do the rest of the work. So thank you for that. That is amazing. Timmy, anything else you need to ask or bring into this, or should we move it ahead? Or
I totally agree with everything. Yes, it's
okay,
really important
good.
to know that. Yeah, we all have different roles, and everything is important. Yeah.
Good. Who wants to open up? Peter.
Sorry, I am muted. I am. Yeah. Look, it's interesting. I'm reflecting as we talk on the old three Christian qualities of faith, hope, and charity that we were taught as kids, and I'm realizing that faith to me is much deeper and much more important than hope. As T.S. Eliot beautifully says in his poem, hope would be hope for the wrong thing. Hope is what we do when we bend down and pray and say, please, tooth fairy, bring me a gold coin for my tooth tonight. You know, hope is what we do when we pray to God for that remuneration from the house being sold or whatever it is, the inheritance. But the universe has its own way, and we need, I think, faith in that process of what's happening is much deeper than hoping for some kind of outcomes that we want. I want some sort of outcome, and then I'm hoping for that outcome. But that's not the deeper faith in the process. That's not showing deeper faith in the process. And when you think everything is coming from the same source, the tsunamis, all the wars, everything emanates from the same source. It's not two sources out there where this is coming from. It's all coming from the universe. And I think faith in this process is much deeper than just having hope for a particular outcome. I hope that, not that hope's bad, it's still good. But I just like to think faith, and then charity means love, agape, love of the universal, realizing our oneness together. That's so important along with faith. Hope is something that's on the periphery, I think, for me anyway. So it's an interesting discussion. Thanks.
Thanks, Peter. Good words again. Yeah, for me on the spiritual way, it's trust, faith, belief. and that's the way it rolls. It was the other way when I started out on a religious road that didn't last me very long. I just want to welcome in my sister, Kat. Kat Haber. Kat is an amazing woman. She would get along well with Timmy because both of them do like 1,000 things at once. Kat, why don't you come in and say hello and share why you're here?
Hello, everyone. It's a great honor to be with you, Jim. It's been too many months that we have not connected, and I'm happy to be walking with you again. So what's up for me right now? Recovering from COVID, breathing deeper and deeper daily, looking at ways of connecting lessons I've learned from COVID and applying them to our other emergency, and that is, of course, climate crisis. I have just today made the decision not to return to my family in Alaska for the summer. I'm noticing that my isolation, my quietness has led me to listening more deeply. And for that, I'm grateful. That's all.
That's a lot. So yeah, I didn't, I had no idea that Kat was dealing with COVID till last week, I guess, when we connected again. So that's another interesting part of the walk. And apparently it gave you the ability to look even deeper than you normally do, which is pretty deep. So we were talking a little bit earlier, Kat, that while this is a horrific thing globally, it is also pushing us to unite, pushing us to go deeper, pushing us to heal. And it will be a unifying force to enact the prophecies to bring back a better planet. And I think we all agreed with that. I think Timmy may not have been on that, I'm not sure. So thank you for making that even more pertinent to the point. Charles, did I see your hand up or was I wrong?
Yeah, you did. Wait a minute. There we go. I wanted to relate to her that I'm grateful to see you up. I'm grateful to see the strength of you. I'm grateful to see that in this COVID-19 thing, that you fought through it, honey. I'm grateful to see you alive. And one of the things I wanted to relate to you, that in my culture that I always do when I meet other people, other women, okay, new women that I've met, so I want to do this for you, okay, this is for me to you in my culture. You're like the earth mother. You clothe, you feed, you give birth, you do everything she does. So it is always up to me as a man and as a warrior as well to always bow to the life giver, and I thank you for being
here. Thanks, Charles. Okay. Ooh, a lot of things flowing through me. Does anyone want to bring something new or additional into the circle tonight? Any other direction we want to roll?
If you don't mind, to talk with Mai here, you know, I heard he was talking about, and it's a very, very good thing, bro. I thank you for what you're doing, for everything you're doing over there. But let me say it like this, you know, if you're looking at a tribal way, okay, you know, in a tribal way, always know the elders have the wisdom. If you have elders, listen to them. Let them help you, teach you, talk to you, okay? Your women also are the life givers, so respect, set with them, help them. They help you, okay? If you have any young people, that's the next generation coming. Work with them. But what we do in our circle and how we hold a council here, okay, is from the chief to the smallest or the poorest person in the tribe, okay? We all have a voice, every one of us. You keep that voice going, okay? Always connect to it, each and every one that are with you, because that makes that circle, that makes that tribe. Everyone works together for the benefit of the whole. From the youngest to the oldest, we all work together for the benefit of that whole thing, okay? And I'm grateful to you, brother, because here's the thing. I've been telling people for many, many years. I said, I always say, I used to tell people they need to go back to the mountain and get focused. Well, brother, you're there. And the reason I say that is that we have to understand as the two-legged upon this Earth Mother, that we have to understand that we're part of nature too. We are nature in itself as human beings. Everything has being. We just happen to be the human being. So if we're caretakers of the Earth Mother, we have to recognize ourselves as being part of nature too, and take that into focus. So what I tell people is to go back to the mountain and get focused. Is I just telling them to go back to nature and be who we are. We're part of this Earth Mother. We're part of nature in itself. So I thank you, my brother. I think you need to unmute, bro.
I thought I unmuted. Maybe I muted myself. Whoops.
Bye, everyone. Sorry, I have to go.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Glad you were here. I'll send you a copy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
She has to get ready for school because she's down in New Zealand. She took a break to be able to be here for a bit. And she'll bring it to some of the other ones, young ones in the climate movement. You know, Kat brought that up, and it's really important. I had some folks from Pine Ridge who often show up on the radio show that Charles and I do, saying to me, I think this was yesterday, and wanted me to bring it into the elder circle, that we've forgotten about climate change because all these other things are happening. And we did a chat for, I don't know, 20 minutes, because my point is that it's just the opposite. We're more focused on climate change because of what is happening. And so, good, everyone's nodding their heads, so maybe everyone will have comments on this one. I think that's critical. I don't think we've forgotten anything. And they're talking about, wow, here we all stood at Standing Rock, and now nothing's going on. And you know, we had all the young people in the streets, and now nothing's going on. And I can tell you for that part, that's incorrect. There's a lot going on virtually. Is it the same? No. Will they be back in the streets? Yes, but not till it's safe. So who wants to take the stick on this one? I think it's a big one right now.
Well, brother, you know, I've in my nation, I did a climate change emergency proclamation, and with all this going on with the COVID-19 and the protests here in America and everything that's going on, I still have something to do about that. As you know, I watch as the Earth Mother goes. I still speak to young people over this. What can we do? What, you know, we're still, it's going to be a long, long battle, you know, because you have people that don't believe that it's happening. And that's fine. That's fine if that's how they believe, whatever. But we still have a battle here because we're still, you have the circle of life like this. And I always tell people in this circle, any part of that life is gone, the circle of life can be broken. And in that circle of life that is broken, you can also die from. So, you know, many with Choni, water is life, okay? We're still fighting for the waters. We're still doing everything. We're fighting for the waters. We're fighting because they're blasting holes in their mother for a rock quarry or something's going on. It's still going to be a fight. It takes a while. So those who are doing the same, we just got to continue to walk that path and do not stop. Stop is not in my vocabulary. I don't have a stop button. That's not it. If we are caretakers of this earth mother as the two-legged, then we'll stand up for the earth mother until I'm here, not here anymore. But while I'm here, I'm still going to do. So, brother, I'll hand it back to you.
Thanks, Chief. Peter.
Yeah, look, that's fantastic. I think it's very positive. All's very positive. Many things are happening on the climate front under the radar. And in April, we had record around the planet with hardly anyone watching. We had record divestment in coal and even mainly coal around the planet. A number of very big companies have divested tremendously in April, quietly there while no one was watching. And April almost had a record amount of divestment from fossil fuels. And this is all happening under the radar. And so we can take great celebration in that, that this evolution is happening. And in Australia, for instance, I don't know about the US or Canada or other, in Australia, we've had a record uptake in solar, rooftop solar on roofs. We've had a record uptake of people buying bicycles, and we've had an amazing rush on seedlings from our major stores, people doing their backyard, planting their own veggie gardens, and we've had a record number of people watching garden shows. So people are voting instinctually with their feet. They're moving. People are moving now. It's an evolution happening before our eyes. And this has all been happening under cover of COVID. So I'm taking celebration and all those things. And people here are saying, look, if government here listens to the science about COVID, they must listen to the science about climate. So even that movement is gathering a pace. So I think a lot has been happening that is fantastic about climate. Thanks.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, as I was looking at some things yesterday, the countries being hit the hardest right now by COVID are number one, the USA. We're number one again. Brazil. Wait a minute, I'll get it. Great Britain, Spain, Russia. And isn't it funny? They're the ones with some of the most dictatorial governments on the planet right now. They're getting hit the hardest. No coincidences. To me, that's spirit working. And some of the countries, well, Timmy was just here, but she's New Zealand. New Zealand's number one as far as handling this in a good way. I'm not sure where Australia is. I think you guys are somewhere in between, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, you're right. A lot of things are going on. Kat, you had your heart up before. Come on, I know you want to talk about this one.
Well, yes, there are so many good intersections and so many learnings for us right now. The elders do, in fact, have many things they want to share with us. And I commend to you the Wisdom Weavers, led by Ilarion Merkuliev, the Aleut elder, Koyuk, he's now called. He's just recently moved to my home in Homer, Alaska, though I won't be there until next summer. I also want to commend to you another great learning, Humanity Rising. This is every day from 9 to 11 online. Excellent conversations. Began with a week of women leaders around the world, and now it is a week of young people around the world, giving us guidance for best ways to become resilient and rethink how we live on the planet, writing our relations. I also commend to you applying for, if you're not already, a climate reality leader. That will give you great information. It's a free online training for the first time ever from Al Gore. It's July 18th to the 26th. And you all are probably very well versed in the science and the details, but perhaps there are others in your networks and circles who would benefit from this free training. I myself am assembling a series of conversations called Pause and Countdown. This pandemic pause will have Wednesday lunches, and we'll have Friday digital dinners for counting down the time until we vote for a new climate aware government on November 3rd. So there's nothing that escapes us in the connections between this virus, this tiny invisible killer, and the one like we are showing up on Earth as a virus ourselves. So I feel it's all fractal learning and fractal exchange, expanding our creativity, our communication, our collaboration, our communal understandings. So as the circles grow, I feel like we have a chance to spiral up and become evolved or make other choices. I myself am going to be taking action to spiral up, staying in my center, honoring women and girls, understanding the life-giving and the life affirmation that needs to be honored in this moment. You know, COVID is a result of abuse of animals. We need to stop abusing animals. This will apply to our diets as well, which will not be an easy change for many, but it's time. That's all.
That's a lot. And that's interesting because, yeah, Kat and I have not been connected for a number of months. I got thrown off Facebook. They don't like me on there because I speak the truth. And so I was disconnected from some people. That is also a very positive thing because it's forced me to branch out into other ways. And some of them are the one Kat's pulling up. Humanity Rising, I just became a speaker listed on there as well. So when they have a week of old white-haired men, I guess that's the one I'll be in. So when you see old white-haired men, look for me, Kat. Climate Reality Corps. I think Kat's the one who told me about that in the beginning. Yes. Yeah, and I did my training like 5 years ago. And now we have a good friend, a young woman, who was supposed to train in Las Vegas. And that's right when COVID started and it got canceled. So I sent her a note the other day, and she hadn't seen the announcement yet. So she'll be signing up. So all these things are all connections. And I hope to actually be one of the mentors on that. They asked me to apply, and I said I'd be willing to do it. Although we have to be able to say no right now, too. So many things are popping up. We got to really focus, I think.
Right.
We got to be careful which ones we can and can't do.
Mm-hmm.
But all these things, these circles are reconnecting. These circles are getting stronger. People I haven't connected with in years are suddenly just appearing. And I'm sure they feel the same way, because it's just time to do that. And I couldn't be with Kat more about the animals, because I'm totally about nature and animals. And I still eat meat, and I understand the hypocrisy in that. And so I don't talk against it. I wish I could stop it. And if that becomes the way to go, then I'll do everything in my power to stop it. Cut way down. We don't eat much of it anymore, but there's no reason to eat any of it anymore. And there, I think that the earlier we can start with young people. So they start their road not eating meat and eating plant-based. I think that's easier. Don't you think, Kat? Instead of going to eat oldies.
I do. When I was walking across the country in 2014 is when I completely stopped. I had been largely a vegetarian before then, but it's progress, not perfection, Jim. None of us is perfect. All of us can find something in the way that we are living that can be self-corrected. And we do ourselves no good when we judge ourselves and say, you know, I should. Should doesn't change anything. Just I am. I am doing this. I am eating no meat on Mondays. I am not flying in airplanes. I am rescuing animals from animal shelters. Did you know that most animal shelters in big cities now are empty because humans are taking them on? It's a beautiful thing. There's so many beautiful things happening right now.
Yeah, I saw most of the animal shelters are empty. And I'm holding the energy that when this part is over and we start creating a new place, that they remain empty and that some of those animals will not get returned back. Because some people I don't trust to walk with an animal.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
The other piece about animals is that this was caused a zoonotic event. So there's great poaching, and many times the animals end up in America. And this case happens to be a horseshoe bat in the wet market in Wuhan, China. The very first digital hearing that Congress did was done by ICCF, part of Wild Foundation's conservation projects, with 25 Congress members on, and they all left understanding that this disease is a result of coronavirus tripping from one species to another. So I'm hopeful that we will see some really significant global efforts at policy and regulations to prevent that from ever happening again.
Yep, I agree. Peter, did I see your hand up?
Yeah, look, I just wanted to agree so much with Kat about animals and you, Jim. What we've seen in Australia is an amazing evolution of consciousness, I'd say, in the last 10 years, perhaps 15 years of animal welfare. And we've had live export animal trade going to China and Indonesia. We've had massive backlash and protests about the treatment of those animals. There's been a massive movement here that I've never seen anything like. And it's all come about in the last 10 or 15 years, which shows me there's an amazing evolution of consciousness in the way that we look at animals. And we have a famous philosopher out of Australia who teaches in America, Singer, His name is Singer. He's a great animal ethics man. He teaches at one of the big US universities. He's out of Melbourne, Australia. Well, he's had a major role to play in the way humans think about animal ethics, the way we view animal lives, and that's all fed into this amazing evolution of consciousness and now that's happening about animals. And that's tied into the vegan movement about what we eat. And that ties into climate change in a massive way, because what is it, 40 or 50% of our emissions are to do with animal production for eating. So everything's tying in together beautifully in an evolution of consciousness around animals. And personally, I'm about 80-20. I'm about 80-20 on the vegan scale, 80% vegan and about 20% I have some eggs, a little bit of chicken when I've got a flu, a little bit of grilled fish sometimes when I'm at a friend's place or out. So I'm about 20% still animal product, but about 80%. And that's even that, even if everyone went 80%, 20%, we'd have a massive effect on global emissions, on animal consciousness, everything, even if people went 80-20, which is very healthy diet because you still get your vitamin B12 naturally. You're eating eggs, you're still getting all the vitamin B12. You're still getting a large amount of protein, and you try to make it low fat, and you're caring so much for dissolving the massive industry, which is animal production at the moment, which uses so much water, so much fertilizer, so much. It's massive. And we need to dissolve that, and it is being dissolved as I speak. So I just wanted to tune in with what you were saying and fully support what you were saying there. So thanks.
Thank you, Peter. And I'm going to turn it to Molly in just a second. But if we could, on top of reducing our intake of animals, stop playing golf, we'd have a good one too. Molly, you're on.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Thank you, everyone. Look, I just had this feeling to share a little bit. It's not. It will sound a little bit devil's advocate, but look, some of the most powerful experiences, and they've only been short, that I've had, and I think Charles, hearing from your cultural perspective, you'll relate to this, and even what Peter said at the start about the deer being killed by the tiger. And I've been blessed to spend a little bit of time with the Yolngu people up in Arnhem Land, who are one of the most still earth-based people in Australia. Now, their relationship with meat eating is very, very different, you know, and when we go up there, we do men's business, we do hunting trips, we do, and we do it in a way that feels really right. It feels very connected to each other, to the earth, to the animals, and that, like, I feel such aliveness both in the process and in the eating of meat when I'm there. If I buy a burger from McDonald's, I feel terrible. If I look at the factory farming world and the way that most of the meat comes to the plate, so I'm not saying that we should or shouldn't. Either way, I just wanted to bring a bit of attention to that there is a way to relate to the taking of life and eating that exists in alignment in a balanced way. In the same way that I can eat factory farmed soy that's destroyed rainforest. Or not, in the same way that, so that's something that just sort of kind of like my body was saying, maybe speak that a bit. And just one other thing I wanted to add, and thank you, Charles, for speaking about listening to the voices and going to the mountain. And not everyone has access to wild nature to do that, or, you know, 4 days to go and do a fast, a quest, or, you know, I'm not saying everyone has that, but I do really, really like strongly feel like there's wisdom in what Charles said and what Kat was saying about listening. And I can see Sue there, who's just listening. And so the power of going into nature and listening and being guided by that into what and our inner nature tells us what feels right. Whether it's you know, it's not so much the act, but what feels right in me, and asking that question, or maybe nature can help me understand that. And I just wanted to finish with a little dream that I had once, where recently, where I met a shaman, and he sent me on a journey, a very short plant medicine journey in a dream, and the only thing that came back was a word: simplicity. And you know, I looked at this COVID situation and, you know, life as a whole with our modern culture, and I just wanted to balance the doing with the beauty of just the being and the simplicity, and that's another really way to be an activist, is actually to do very little. Because my impact on the world, it's in line with that, is if I'm good in simplicity, you know, if my soul is at rest in simplicity with nature and community and wisdom and meditation and healthy food and relationships gives me, like, that's just it's just another. I just wanted to add that side to the whole of just, sometimes we can just be really simple. And I'll finish with that. Thank you.
Yeah, good thought. I'll turn it over to Charles in a minute. But some of my indigenous friends, yeah, it was the same teaching. And there's is eating meat and hunting in a good way, in a way in balance. Um, and also the other side of that was sometimes the animal won, and that was okay. And one of their tribe would be killed, and the animal was not held in disdain like we seem to do. But it was okay. Yes, this time the animal won, and that is the circle of nature. So yeah, thank you for that balance. Charles, did you have something to respond on that one?
Yeah, I would just like to say this is a lot of our ways, of our tribal ways here. Even say it's vegetable, just say it's a vegetable, right? That vegetable is living. So we have ceremony. We do ceremony all the time. We are constantly in ceremony. Okay. So if I'm going to eat that vegetable, I will do a ceremony and thank the spirit for feeding my family. Okay. I do that. Now, here's the thing. In tribal understanding, for the first 12 years in a young boy's life, he is raised by his mother. After that 12 years, he goes to the men. Okay. Now, we do hunting, we did hunting the same way that your brothers did in Australia. Okay. But let me say it like this. If we did hunt, okay, we brought tobacco with us, we brought water with us, and we did ceremony, and we brought sage, sweetgrass, cedar. And what we did was we held a ceremony if one was killed. And when we do that ceremony, we go to the 4 directions and we lay the tobacco down. And we actually let it drink from the water. Because what we do in this, and we thank the spirit of that animal for giving up its life to feed our families. But everything is done ceremonially. Everything is a ceremony. I'm in ceremony as I talk with you. Every second is ceremony. Okay. So there was in the old day and now, okay, there's ceremony being done. Now, a lot of times it was the weak, or the the weak of the like the herd. Okay, the weak or something of that matter. So what I'm saying is, if we do, then we have ceremony because we thank the spirit of that animal for giving up its life to feed our family. So everything is done in respect. Also, that's what that was about. Go ahead, my brother.
Thanks, Charles. Yeah, that helped position it very well. So, this is powerful. For those who are watching, Kat had to leave. She had something else scheduled, but I thank her again for being here. Kat's energy is just amazing, and I'm glad to be doing things with her again. I see Peter has his hand up. Let me go to Peter, and then I'm going to see if Sue wants to do something to break this for us a little bit. A song, a drumming, whatever she's moved to do.
Since Charles Darwin of mid-1800s, the voyage of the Beagle, his work that Charles Darwin did on evolution, the force of evolution that he discovered, then it's still a theory of science, and I think we can't put our binoculars down yet on what's happening in the sense of change and movement. And then the work that Ken Wilber, the work that Andrew Cohen have been doing lately on evolution of consciousness, we can't assume that the human being, tribal or otherwise, is a static entity, that consciousness is always, we all have come out of certain tribes. We've all come out of that, out of Africa originally, based on the current studies. This force, this movement of evolution, we can't assume we've got to stay exactly where we've always been. This is something we just can't assume. We say we've got to go back to old tribal ways. Maybe that's not the force of evolution, where evolution is taking us. I'm just raising that keynote question there, because now for the last 2 centuries, we've acknowledged the force of evolution. Hindu religion acknowledged evolution in the Bhagavad Gita, spiritually, 5,000 years ago. So it's not a new thing, but science has now come around to support the ancient spirituality of India that acknowledged this movement, evolution of consciousness, as well as physical evolution. Now, man hasn't evolved for the last 50,000 years. We can establish that scientifically. There's been no physical evolution for 50,000 years. At that point, the moment physical evolution stopped, the evolution seemed to have turned inwardly to cultural, to the inner world of movement. And this has been very slow over 50,000 years. Now, this movement means we may not be returning to old tribal practices, habits, patterns that we all came from. We may not be returning. So I hate to be a devil's advocate, but I need to be here to be true to myself and the spirit. I have to say this. We may not be returning to those old ways. And the whole movement of evolution is not to return to old ways, to move onwards, ever onwards. And this is why I think Pete Singer's work in philosophy and the ethics of animal consciousness has been so important. So I raise that koan for people to consider, respectfully, honourably, with an open heart, for people to look at and mull over and think about, digest, chew up, and spit it out if you like, but take it on, the whole discovery, the whole force of evolution, not only now of physical, that stopped 50,000 years ago for the human species, but in consciousness. The new frontier of evolution is in consciousness itself. So, and that involves everything we do on the planet. Every little single thing we do is up for grabs, is up for scrutiny, is up for a renewal, is up for looking at, is up for observation, is up for study, is up for digesting. Every single little thing we do is open for evolution. So this is a spiritual process. I had to throw that in respectfully to all our elders so that we might look at that reality.
Yeah, I would think my outlook is a little different than that. I don't think anyone ever thought we were going to go back to living the way our ancestors did. It's not only not practical, and it's not smart. However, what I've been taught is we take all those things that our ancestors taught us. We take the ways that worked so well, and we start using them, but we combine it with current sustainable science, sustainable knowledge. Then we have a new way going forward. So we lose all fossil fuels. We get rid of them. That's one way of moving ahead, getting rid of something that no longer sustains us. We go back to doing things in circle, as most of our ancestors did. That's using an old way, but now it works in the new way. So I agree with what you're saying, Peter. I don't think we throw away any pieces of it. They're all important. And yeah, this isn't about physical evolution right now. We've been in that place for quite a while. That's right. This is all about spirit. And that's what we need to change to move ahead, I think. So thank you for that. That's a great piece to have open. Should I bring on Charles before I bring you on, Sue, or should I bring you on and then bring Charles on?
Brother, if you don't mind, just real quick, man, and then grandmother could come on.
Mhm.
What I was going to say real quick, grandmother, forgive me, but I need to say this. What I do as a traditional person is that I'm a traditional, so a lot of times I do things as the old ones do, okay, during council or anything of that matter, all right? But I also use this technology that we have because I'm here, I'm doing it right now. So we involve both. But as a traditional myself, I do, when we sit in council, we do it the old way. When I do things, we do things in the old way, but we still use modern things. So, you know, both comprehend. Grandmother, go ahead. I apologize.
We have background music again. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, the dogs are
Okay.
singing.
Yeah, they're singing. I think everything, you know, just listening to everyone and all the wisdom that's coming out of everyone's mouths. I really feel strongly, and it's difficult, especially in these times. We are connected to everything that we see. I mean, our thoughts, everything, go out there, and we are all one. So this song that I wrote, and I haven't sung this one for a while, so I thought I'd pull it out. It's called "We Are One," and it's one that I wrote years ago, a few years ago. I didn't put any dates on my songs. A couple of them I have dates, but I guess it doesn't really matter. So this is "We Are One." We are the mountains that we see. We are the trees so tall. We are the eagle in the sky. We are one, both you and I. We are the stars that shine at night. We are the worm that crawls. We are the grasses swaying free. We are one, both you and me. Hey yo, Guyana, hey. Hey yo, Guyana, ho. Hey yo, Weana he na ho, we he na he ya ho. Hey yo, weana he, hey yo, weana ho. Hey yo, weana he na ho, we he na he ya ho. We are the sparkle in our eyes. We are the one we see. We are the moon so shining bright. We are one, both you and me. We are the life around us, connected to all we see. And know that life that's everywhere is within both you and me. Hey yo, weana hey, hey yo, weana ho, hey yo, weana hey na ho, we hey na hey ya ho. Hey yo, weana hey, hey yo, weana ho. Hey yo, weana hey na ho, we hey na hey ya ho.
Great. Thank you. Excuse me. Ah. Before we go around and each have our parting thoughts, is there anything else anyone wanted to bring to the whole table? Anything we didn't touch on that maybe we needed to, or?
Well, let me say this real quick, brother, because I feel that are really, really necessary. It's really, really necessary right now. To George Floyd's family, his mother, his brothers, his cousins, his sisters. I'm sorry for your loss, my sister. George Floyd is taking this journey now, and it shouldn't be done. Shouldn't have had to happen. But my heart's with your family. And the only thing I can say from myself, because I have been there somewhat myself, we don't need this no more. In other words, what I'm saying is for black, white, yellow, red, the four directions, I always say hello, my relations. But I couldn't say that if I didn't believe it myself. And I have lost a relative. And we've lost thousands of relatives around, the millions of relatives around the world right now. And my daughter's on a 2-week quarantine right now because she worked with somebody that ended up that had it at work and didn't know about it, but that's all right. But what I'm saying is, Black lives matter, red lives matter, all life matters. We need to stop, look at each other. I don't have to know you, I don't have to meet you to say I love you. We can communicate. And if we are children under one creator, just because I call him a different name doesn't mean we don't have but one. Does not mean I can't love my brothers or my sisters. So to the family of George Floyd, I'm incredibly sorry. Although he took his journey, he will be gone. But also in the spirit of Heather Heyer and George Floyd and everyone else that has went in this crazy way of going. You may be in the sky world, you may be taking your journey to the sky world, but as far as I'm concerned, you're gone but never forgotten. Oh.
Aho. Yeah, beautifully said, Charles. And I would put out there that no one's ever actually gone. They're just in a different realm. But you're right. And many have left right now. Many have left over the years, and many are leaving right now. The prophecies are that many more will be leaving as we get through this. And that is part of the transformation. And I respect that and I honor that. Those who are left will have to put it together and bring in new blocks to build the new thing. Yeah, his recent leaving, we don't need any more of this. You're absolutely right. I'm really impressed by our circle here. We haven't been around that long. I think this is like the fourth time we've met. I think the fourth, because first 5 of us showed up after we met with Timmy. And that was just happened on the spur of the moment. It'll continue to happen. And we've been very representative, male, female. We've had all the colors here. And I know we'll continue to attract the sort of people who need to speak. And that's all we're here for. Our job is just to open the venue, put the invite out. Anyone who listens to this and feels you need to be here, let us know. Just let us know. And we'll welcome you in. No one is said no to here. As long as you're speaking in a good way and speaking from your heart and speaking from a positive truth and the light, you're welcome here. So Charles, that kind of worked as a final prayer because that was so beautiful. So maybe we should work our way out. Who wants to go first? Peter?
Look, it's been a great meeting, and as an ex-high school teacher of 24 years, I used to have 30 in the class. I average about 30 in each class, a lot of thousands of students, and lately in the last 10 years, I've got a small group I work with here and practice with, our meditation, our spirituality, and what I've come to realise is small groups are good groups. Small groups can be good groups, not always, and today's been a small but excellent energy good group. And my daughter went to a small school, only 600 students, and the headmaster knew every student. And we couldn't have been happier with that small school. So small schools can be good schools, and small groups can be very, very, very good groups. And today I think we've had a smaller group, but an excellent group, a very, very good group. And it's been just so great to be here. And we've canvassed some very deep and important topics of the current milieu, the current dynamic, the current what's happening. We've really got to it today. And I'll enjoy looking back over this, if I get a chance to see it soon. And it's been powerful, small but powerful, and we've hit the mark in so many ways today. We've hit the mark about what's happening now, whether it be climate, whether it be COVID, whether it be the latest death, a shocking death of an innocent, unarmed black person in the States, whether it be any of those amazingly important issues, we've hit the mark. And the old meaning in the Christian church was to miss the mark was a sin, and to hit the mark was close to home, was a homer. Tonight we've hit some very good homers. So thank everyone for being here.
Thanks, Peter. And since we have to have a little fun with this, isn't the old saying is that size doesn't matter? Uh, okay, Sue, final parting words?
Okay. No, this has been an amazing group. And I just want to just want to everyone to really, really connect. Go out in nature. Be with the earth. Walk barefoot. Connect. Connect with the trees. Just notice everything around you. Everything is vibrant and alive right now. The birds are singing beautifully. They're doing their spring thing, and it's just an amazing time. So to help yourself make it through with everything that's going on these days, just get out there and just be and connect and walk in balance. Balance yourself. Do what you need to do for yourself. That way you can be there for others and help others. And as you're in balance yourself, you'll be able to connect spiritually and connectively, since we are all connected. Your energy will be connecting with the energy of the collective, and we can all make a difference in that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Great song as always. So you brought in nature again. That's perfect time to go back to Molly.
Yeah, look, I want to give a lot of gratitude to this circle for welcoming me in, to you all for holding like really important flames. Sounds like you got campfires there that a lot of people come to for nourishment. I've come to this little one. Thank you for that. Big thank you, Sue, for that song and that offering to connect with nature. Of course, I second that. I have a huge prayer that we, with this potentially very challenging, shifting time, that all of us have the opportunity to connect and feel the support of the Mother Earth, of the grandmothers and the grandfathers and the circles that hold us. I pray that from that place we connect with our wild nature, and from that place that we can act in a way that is deeply creative and has the power to shift things to the way that we want them for ourselves, our family, and the future. And I really pray that that happens. And thank you for the work everyone here is doing, and everyone who's listening, for them being themselves and trust themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly.
And to sing.
You brought the...
Sorry, and to sing.
And sing.
And thank you for bringing the outside inside to this. So, yeah, we hope to see you often. Charles, any additional thoughts?
Well, I can say it like this. One of the things I would like people to understand that in this time of the warmth weather, the weather that is warm in the springtime, within the springtime that is coming, that is here, and the summertime that is coming. Look outside and take a look real good. The flowers are blooming. The young animals are playing with their mothers. The Earth Mother is pregnant. It is time for rebirth. Be grateful that you can see this. Be grateful that you can be a part of this. Be grateful that you walk with it. What a beautiful thing. The Earth Mother is pregnant again. And I want to say Wopula so much that I'm grateful to be able to see this. But grandmother, I love you. Thank you for that song. That meant so much to me. And how do I say this? like I said before, I walk with my heart. And from with my heart, I do my talk. But let me say one thing before I go. Two leaders, even from the leader of this nation to other leaders all over the world. You forgot, man. You forgot. As a leader, you don't think of yourself, but you think of the people. As a leader, you think of the people, not of yourself. It's not about you. It's about the oyate. It's about the people. Let's start thinking of each other and make a world tribe out of this, because in a whole lot, Gray Wolf, you know what I'm talking about. There's a prophecy called the Rainbow Prophecy. And in that prophecy, you have people from all the sacred four directions: black, white, yellow, red, brown now. And all that comes together. But that prophecy is what I have been working on. That is why the 96 flags are in my house. That represents a lot of it. So let's start thinking that that person of color, or any person of color, that's not your enemy, man. That's your brother. That's your sister. And what I have done personally in my life, and what I'm trying to do in my tribe, and spoke many times in council about this, we take the color of the individual and we put it aside, and we look at the human being, the person. And Martin Luther King also said a riot is only that of the unheard. Let's be heard, but let's be heard together, and let's be heard peacefully in this manner. And I thank you for the time you give us to be able to be peaceful in this time. So thank you, Gray Wolf. That's all I've got to say right now, brother.
All good words from everybody. Wow. Yeah, this was a powerful gathering. I had no idea where this was going to go. I didn't know who would show up. But again, it doesn't matter. I didn't really care much about that. Listening to Charles, though, I just want to comment there a minute. When we were at Standing Rock and we were getting Standing Rock going, I started the virtual end of things. And I started the first group to follow Standing Rock. And we realized pretty quickly that nobody was going to cover Standing Rock. The traditional media were not going to say a word about Standing Rock. And so we coined the phrase, and I started another group called We Are the Media. Well, what I'm seeing going on now, and Charles is speaking to it, our leaders that we have now are not going to resolve any of these issues for us. They're incapable of resolving them given the functioning of the political institutions that we've allowed to grow. And so I think it's time for us to say we are the leaders and step up, because we're 98% of the people walking this planet. Those supposed leaders are only 2%, and as Charles said, they've forgotten. Some of them may still remember, and they can walk with us. But there's no more reason anymore to have a couple dozen people around the planet controlling what goes on for the planet, and the rest of us watch the planet die. And so let's step up peacefully in a good way and become the leaders that we were meant to be. I've walked a lot of years this time around. It's hard to believe because I'm still 19 years old on the inside and stepping up into my first protests with Vietnam and Dr. King and blah, blah, blah. But I think I almost can remember when I went to high school with Charles Darwin. That's how old I feel right lately. But the thing is, it doesn't matter what age we are. We're here to do the work and to do it in a good, positive way. That's actually what, and I've had people asking me, well, where did this White Otter Academy idea come from? I just woke up one morning, and Sue can tell you, during the night I had this vision, and that name came to me. And it was like, okay, it's time to start sharing out some knowledge now. And I may have said this on one of our other gatherings, but I'll say it again because I think it applies to all of us. I feel like I'm a library. I spent a long time walking around the globe, learning from people, living with people, trying to understand what makes things tick and tick in a better way. So I'm a library, and I don't want to leave here with books still in that library. I want all the books taken out. And that's what White Otter Academy, I think, is going to be about. I've created an entity out of it now. I'm going to start sending some emails. I want a whole plenitude of resources out there for folks. And I welcome all of you into that to help in whatever way or not, or just to spread the word so we get people to look at these things and understand them and take us to task when they don't agree. We don't have to all agree. You know, we're probably right about some things and wrong about others. But that's the whole point of this. Let's move ahead now. Let's understand how this works. Let's go back to the wisdom of the old, combine it with the knowledge of the new, and move ahead into that good way. And I thank everybody in this circle, those here right now, those who have been here, and the ones who will be here, because they're going to keep appearing. You all come back. People listening, stay with us. This is just beginning to grow. We have no idea how it's going to grow. We don't care. We'll just keep watering the roots. So thank you all. This was awesome. Somehow we went 2 hours again, and it seems to me like 10 minutes. Blessings to all of you, and we'll come again soon. Stay low.